Pat Curie. We have Katrina Pearson. We have Shelley Luther. We have Rep. Wes Verdell. We have Mark LaHood. And we have Rep. AJ Louderback. Denise Villalobos. Mike Olcott. Andy Hopper. And with us today we have Zapata County Sheriff Raimundo. We have Starr County Major Carlos Delgado. And we have Starr County Chief Larry Fuentes. Thank you.
Good morning. Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Dawn Buckingham, your Texas Land Commissioner. And it is a joy and a pleasure to be with you on this exciting and auspicious day. Before we begin, I'd like us to take a moment of silence for the children that we have lost to the brutality of those who have come across the border. Please join me. Thank you. As a mom, surgeon, and the first female land commissioner, I am dedicated to the prosperity and safety of our communities every day. I steward 13 million acres, fund education, and care for our coast and our veterans. I believe we should serve those we're supposed to serve and do it well. I love every square inch of Texas and will defend it with the full strength of my office. It wasn't long ago that we made Texas bigger for the first time in a couple hundred years by declaring islands in the Rio Grande as Texas. That's right. Through Operation Flat Top, the Texas Military Department, DPS, cleared the islands, removing caches of drugs, weapons, and untold numbers of trafficked individuals. The success of this operation is unquestioned. Today signifies the General Land Office's continued efforts to assist our state partners to gain complete operational control of our border. Behind me stands the first section of the state wall to be constructed on this property. It is my promise to all Texans that as Land Commissioner, I will do everything in my power to stop the pain and suffering that has been happening on this property. The previous owner would not allow law enforcement on this ranch. She would not allow the wall to be built on this ranch. It stayed at the height of all of the violence, the top property for trafficking, for people coming across, for drugs, always in the top section. But that will no longer be tolerated. In less than 24 hours of purchasing this property, we had the right-of-way done for the wall. Within a couple weeks, we had broken ground. And guess what? We are going to build a mile of this wall in the next week, and we're going to be done in the next couple of weeks. So I say it with love, if you want to get it done and you want to get it fast, Texas knows how to do it right and put a woman in charge. So we will continue to fight to ensure that our state remains a beacon of hope, justice, and dignity for all who call Texas home. To quote Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, we are witness to the greatest sin of the modern era. The hundreds of thousands of missing migrant children and the horror they must be experiencing. But the second greatest sin of the modern era is allowing repeat offenders back out onto our streets, permitting them to commit heinous crimes against our sons and daughters. Take, for example, the loss of our own children, like Jocelyn Nungary, Laken Riley, and Elizabeth Medina. No longer will the rape and murder of our sons and daughters be tolerated. We are completely united with President Trump to rid our country of illegal, violent criminals. As many of you are aware, I have extended an offer to President Trump and incoming border czar, Tom Homan, to use this 1,400-acre property to to construct a facility for the processing, detention, and coordination efforts of what will be the largest deportation of violent criminals in our nation's history. A facility here will be the final stop for processing before these violent criminals are deported. This will reduce the burden on our local jails and keep our Texas children safer. President Trump and Mr. Homan, I meant it when I said that I will do everything in my power to help this administration. And that is why I'm announcing our offer has been extended beyond this property. At this time, I'd like to bring up Jocelyn Nungari's mom, Alexis, and grandmother Jacqueline. Please help me welcome them. So we have an exciting announcement. The new project that the General Land Office is going to embark in that I have created is the Jocelyn Initiative, in which we will locate appropriate land under my jurisdiction to lease for the construction of violent criminal deportation facilities. My office has identified several of our properties and is standing by ready to make this happen on day one of the Trump presidency. We are going to do everything in our power to ensure no other parent has to feel the pain that Alexis and Jacqueline are feeling right now. We have seen what happens when sanctuary cities release illegal immigrants back onto the streets. The monsters who took the life of Jocelyn had been caught in El Paso, but were soon let out and made their way to Houston and committed an unspeakable crime. Another example is the tragic case of Laken Riley, whose murderers have been arrested multiple times, including for endangering a child. Time and time again, he was released and went on to rape and murder another American daughter. This stops now. With the help of our local, state, and now, after 4 years, our federal partners, we can continue to deal major blows to the cartel's influence over South Texas. By working together, we will significantly reduce illegal immigration, end the trafficking of deadly drugs, and keep Texas families safe. I'm Dr. Dawn Buckingham, your Texas Land Commissioner. I love my job. I love every inch of this state, and I am committed to keeping it safe and prosperous for the future. Please help me welcome Alexis to the stadium for some time.
Hello, everybody. I really appreciate Mrs. Buckingham to allow me the opportunity to have me and my mom here to speak in honor of Jocelyn, who is no longer here anymore. It means the world to me to know that Jocelyn has touched millions of hearts, millions of people she's never met, and every day it's a struggle, every day it's hard. Some days are easier than others, but it never takes away the fact that she's not here anymore due to heinous people who were let in this country to do what they did to her. As much as I wish I could change the past and take it back and even take her place, I can't do that, and everything happens for a reason, and there's a reason I'm up here and standing and speaking, because my goal is to get justice for Jocelyn, but to make a change for every other child in this state, in this nation, to not have any more families go through what me and my family are going through. We can make change, and we can do and make a difference. And Jocelyn's voice was ripped away from her, unfortunately, but mine is still here. So I will forever, for as long as I live and breathe, forever shout her name, say her name, and do whatever I can in my power to make her death prevail and have way bigger purpose than what it has ever became. Thank you.
I'm Jackie. I'm Jocelyn's grandmother. I was her Mimi. What started off as my beautiful girl, as our family, has now become everybody's beautiful girl. And the outpouring of support and love that we have received, I could not have never fathomed. You know, my baby always talked about wanting to be famous, and her name is everywhere now. And we're gonna do right by her, make sure her legacy lives on. And Ms. Buckingham, thank you for this honor and allowing us to be part of this, because this shows we're taking back power, we're taking back our peace, and we're taking back hope, so that none of the families have to go through what our families go through, because this should have never happened. Those monsters should have never been here. And I'm looking forward to the future, because we didn't have a future. And now, hopefully, it'll become brighter, and we can just continue living through Jocelyn and make sure her legacy just lives on. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. I think they deserve another round of applause. I tell you what, the strength of a mom is incalculable, right? And how much we love our babies. And that's what we're really here today about, is protecting our babies from the violent criminals that are coming across and keep being released back out into the public. Next, for comments, I'd like to have the spokesperson and National Vice President of the National Border Patrol Council, Chris Cabrera. Please help me welcome.
Good morning. My name is Chris Cabrera. I'm Vice President for the National Border Patrol Council. You know, the stories we've heard are all too common. They're happening quicker and quicker, and unfortunately this administration has made stuff like this possible and more common. Something needs to be done. It's unfortunate that we've gotten to this stage, but thankfully we have a new administration coming back into the White House, and we can get back to work. You know, the men and women that I represent are ready to get back to work. We're ready to work with this new administration and take back what belongs to this country and get this job done. We're ready. I know the state of Texas has done great things. They've stepped up and done what the federal government has failed to do. As a federal employee, it's kind of a thorn in my side. It's kind of embarrassing that the state has to come in and do our job, but as a Texan, I'm very proud to see that the governor has stepped in and done what needed to be done. And you can always tell he's doing the right thing when the administration is trying to stop him, trying to sue him for doing what should have been done in the first place. But rest assured, the men and women that I represent will be ready come January 20th to get back to work and do what we need to do to get it done. Thank you.
And next, this person needs no introduction, this shy introvert. No, I'm just teasing. Congressman Chip Roy, come join us up here.
Well, good morning, everybody. Had to check what time of day it is. Dawn, thank you. Thanks for your leadership. Thanks for what you're doing, bringing this great group of Texans and leaders and the state legislature from down South Texas and across the state so that America can see, and all the people that are watching the news can see, that Texas takes this seriously. Obviously, we are thankful to the Lord Almighty that there's help on the way in January. But Texas has been the state that has stood in the breach. And it is 12, 13, 14 now billion dollars later. And we've got some work to do in D.C., I got to tell you, and make sure that Texas gets paid back. Because Texas shouldn't have had to do the job. Texas shouldn't have had to do the job that Chris pointed out. The guys at Border Patrol, the guys at ICE, they all wanted to do their job. Let's be very clear why we're here. We're here because the Biden administration, still in office, still in power, still the President of the United States, has utterly refused to do his job to secure the border, purposely, intentionally, and has released millions of people onto the streets of this country, including dangerous criminals, people who are known or suspected terrorists, and as a result, Americans have died, and Americans are dying. That is why President Trump was swept into office. That is why Republicans were given the trifecta in Washington. That is why the legislature is growing here in Texas. And it is now why it is our duty, our job, to get the job done in January. No excuses. I don't want to hear one excuse from any Republican across this great country about why we don't do our job to secure the border of the United States and, yes, deport the millions of people that were released unlawfully and, frankly, purposefully into the United States. That's our job, and we ought to do it. One final point I want to make, and why I came down here. I've gotten to know Alexis over the last several months. I just want everybody to put in perspective and think that it's mid-late November. It was just 4 months ago that she lost her daughter. Just a little over 4 months ago. And I met Alexis when she came to testify at a House Judiciary Committee hearing. And it was one of the more courageous testimonies I've ever seen and witnessed since I've been in Washington and in politics. And she sat there in front of the House Judiciary Committee and she testified. And some of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle wanted to diminish the testimony. And then some people who were running campaigns wanted to diminish that Alexis was willing to speak out and speak out about the actual political reality of what this election was about. And I can't say enough what an inspiration she's been, and how much you are truly honoring your daughter by doing what you're doing to stand up, to do what is right for our country. We sat in the back of the House Judiciary Committee room and sat in the back conference room and talked for a while. And we talked about her history, her family's history, coming to this country and wanting to live the American dream, but do it the right way, to follow the law, to not look for handouts or for government to do something, but to come here because that's why migrants want to come here. They come here for the rule of law. They come here so you can achieve the American dream, not to have government walk away from both of those things, the rule of law and making sure that we're not giving out handouts and things that undermine what it means to succeed in this country. We talked about that. And I'm just deeply appreciative of Alexis and her mom for being here today and being here with Dawn. And I'll just close with this. This country is only as good as our respect for its sovereignty and who we are as a people. The Vice President-elect, J.D. Vance, who's a friend of mine, likes to remind people that when people say that America is an idea, that's not enough. We're not just an idea. We're a nation. We're a nation of people, a nation of communities, a nation of laws. And we're brought together to carry out the American dream I was talking about before for our kids and our grandkids. And you can't do that if you undermine our sovereignty as a people. And people say, well, just deport the criminals. Well, hold on a second. We had people in this administration lawlessly dumping people into this country. We have now 51.5 million foreign born, the highest percentage we've ever had in our country's history. We've got to take a step back and remember that we've got to protect this country and make sure that it will exist for generations to come. And you do that by securing it with physical structures, but also enforcement of the law. We must, and this to all my colleagues in Washington, as I said before, no excuses. We must pass permanent changes to law. We must make it to where no president can ever do what this president has done to this country. We must reverse the damage of the Biden administration. We must stand up, particularly the Texas delegation, and defend this state along with the great people in the Texas legislature, our great land commissioner, our governor, our lieutenant governor, and all the great people of this state. It's an honor to serve. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Dawn. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you all for joining us. May God bless Texas. Take care.
So again, for one-on-one interview questions, if y'all want to line up along this fence here, we can pull you guys in one by one. Thank you.
Is it on?
Check, check. Yeah. Check, 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 check. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, 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 check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if there's anyone we can grab before we get in there. Be right back. to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
No, not a problem. All right, we're good to go.
Good to go. Perfect. Can I just have first name, last name, and title?
Chris Cabrera, Vice President, National Border Patrol Council.
How problematic is this particular area down here in Starr County? Have you guys seen a lot of trafficking?
Yeah, traditionally it's been one of our biggest problem areas, whether it's a crossing of people, smuggling of people, and drugs. Drugs is a big problem in this area in particular.
How important are things like this and the kind of deterrence factor when it comes to this area of the county?
You know, having a wall, obviously a wall is not a be-all, end-all, but it is a significant tool in the toolbox. You know, people say you build a 20-foot wall, we'll bring a 25-foot ladder, and they do. But in the time it takes them to get that ladder carried to the wall, up on it, propped up, and get over, by then our guys are already here rounding them up. So yeah, you can bring a wall or you can bring a ladder, but we're just going to catch you with a ladder.
How excited are you guys for this new kind of initiative, one, today, and two, to have kind of a new administration coming in, new/old administration coming in?
You know, a lot of our guys and girls are very excited about it. You know, people are ready to get back to work. We're ready to do what we're paid to do. We're ready to get back to work and do what needs to be done.
The state is doing a lot of the federal job right now. What does that say about the state of Texas?
You know, it's as a Border Patrol agent, it's kind of disheartening that somebody has to come in and do my job, but as a Texan, it's a source of pride, and it's a great thing that the governor and the state has stepped up and did what the federal government won't do.
Do you think that this initiative, using these kind of new plots of land that they'll be offering to the Trump administration, will help your guys' job?
Yeah, I think so. You know, any infrastructure we can get is a plus. You know, whether it's something to put a wall on or a facility or whatever we can get, we can use and we will use.
What does this event say, having all these state legislators here, having the congressman here, having Jocelyn's family here? What does this say about how important this issue is?
Well, you know, you look at it on multiple levels. One, you know, having the state of Texas behind you, living in the state is a good thing. Obviously, the federal government hasn't been behind us for the longest time. And having the community, whether it's Jocelyn's family or even this county in particular. I mean, this county in particular, the mood has changed towards illegal crossings. Obviously, they're starting to take it serious now. You know, you have a lot of ranchers, a lot of farmers out here that fences get torn down, crops get destroyed by people crossing through them, and people are tired of the mess.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate you. Thanks so much. Check, mic check.
I'm just gonna get this done with my face.
Congressman, how are
Yeah.
you?
All right.
See you again.
Good to see you. You all right?
Yeah, hanging in, man, hanging in.
Good.
Another
Where do you
day, another day, right before Thanksgiving, you know? Happy time.
I know. Look at you.
Yeah.
All right. You got me where you want. All right.
Ready to roll? So, Congressman, what does today say about what Texas is doing to try and secure the border?
Yeah, great to be down here with Don Buckingham, the land commissioner, doing a great job leading. I know Governor Abbott is with Tom Homan and some other parts along the border. Texas is demonstrating that we're going to step up and fill the breach. But let's be clear, as the guy here from Chris from Border Patrol, who's the vice president of the Border Patrol Union, he pointed out, it's kind of embarrassing that Texas is having to do the work that Border Patrol is supposed to do. The line guys want to do it. They want to fight. They want to secure the border. But this president, this administration, has been prohibiting them from doing that, and worse, forcing them to facilitate the releases of people in our country, including criminals, like the criminal who killed, unfortunately, Jocelyn. And it was great to have Alexis here, her mom, today. But this is a great day where we're down here demonstrating. We're going to do the work, but importantly, we got to do our job in D.C., and we got to pay Texas back, and we got to make sure we're given the resources needed to Border Patrol and ICE to get the job done, but importantly, change the law permanently so we can never have this happen again.
That's one thing I was going to ask you. That's one thing you mentioned is paying Texas back. Does that mean for all of Project Lone Star, or does that mean for the $3.8 million that they spent on this piece of land? What does that really mean?
I mean, frankly, it should be all of it, because we shouldn't be having to do this job. It is a clear duty of the federal government and the Constitution. But at a minimum, we ought to be getting paid back for all the stuff we're having to do to build the fencing that should have been completed, but also do a lot of the support in the back on the patrolling, the razor wire when we had to put that up in order to prevent flow in certain parts along the border. And so those are all things that we need to look at. But Texas has been taking on the chin. That's $13-14 billion taken out of Texas, where we could have used that for roads, highways, facilitating schools and whatever we need to do for the people inside of Texas.
Yeah, that's in $3.8 million here. Obviously, many billions of dollars spent across the state. Is there a timeline that you guys are trying to get some of that back to Texas by? What does that look like from a federal level?
Well, look, I mean, I certainly think it ought to be a priority in the next appropriation. And certainly, we're talking about the need to apply fees to all of the parolees that have been released into the United States, tax remittances. I think some of those remittant taxes that are coming back probably ought to go back to pay Texas. And not just Texas. I mean, there's a few other border states that have had to fill the gap. But I think certainly Texas has been the one that's taken it on the chin the most. So I think we can do a lot in what we call reconciliation in Washington, which is the package that we can move through with a majority vote out of the Senate. So I expect us to do some of that work with the fees and remittances, parole fees, and so forth. So hopefully we can get some of that revenue and do some good things with it.
As far as the detention centers and whatnot on a piece of land like this and across the state of Texas, where are you standing on the mass export or deportation of criminals from the state of Texas and using detention centers such as the one that might be built on this land right here?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, I was glad to see Dawn talking about that Texas resources will be made available to facilitate the Trump administration's efforts to engage in what needs to be done in terms of deportation and removal. As I said here, it shouldn't just be criminals. Obviously, we want to focus on getting criminals either in jail behind bars or out of our country or both. But importantly, it's also the fact that we've had however many million, we're trying to get a beat on the total number, 5.5 million that were released into the United States unlawfully and illegitimately under this so-called parole program, they are not lawfully present in the United States. So we've got to remove all of the people because a lot of these folks are using a lot of the social welfare state in our country. We're eating the bill in Texas. We're eating the bill in our schools, in our hospitals, in our jails, and all the public services. I mean, talk to Kinney County. Like Brent is down here somewhere, wherever he is. Talk about how many arrests they've had in Kinney County from 2021 to now. They were doing about 170 a year, and they've had something like 16,000 since then. I mean, it's absurd what we've done to the people of Texas. So we need to pay them back. We need to make sure that we do what we need to do to get deportations done. Whatever resources Texas can do sharing with the federal government, great, but the feds need to step up and do their job.
When it comes to bringing and taking so much of this land, she mentioned multiple plots of land as part of this Jocelyn's initiative.
Yep.
Is that something that the Trump administration should take Don Buckingham and the state of Texas up on, or how should that work?
Well, I certainly think the feds ought to consider it. I'm not going to get in front of Tom Homan or get in front of the, presumably the new Homeland Security Secretary. But what I do think is the federal government ought to work directly in coordination with Texas, Governor Abbott, with Don Buckingham. Whatever resources can be brought to bear to solve the problem, we should do it. This is not new. I mean, this is our job, to secure the border of the United States. So if we can use this land, awesome. If we can use other parts, other land throughout Texas, awesome. If we can use existing facilities, awesome. Whatever we need to do to get the job done, it needs to be done quickly.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we're good.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Appreciate
Happy
y'all.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you too.